Shawnee County Emergency Management is giving you tips to keep you safe as the winter weather hits. And we have 13's Phil Anderson live to give you an update on road conditions.
Live, local, experienced. This is 13 News This Morning, Kansas News Leader.
Good morning and welcome to 13 News This Morning. I'm Jared Broyles alongside Brandon Flores and Doug Myers. The snow has been falling throughout the night. There's outages across the state of Kansas, thousands, but the majority of those are centered kind of in Kansas City and Wichita. We do have some here in the northeast Kansas area, but not quite as many as in the other parts. And certainly driving is affected as well. I'm sure you guys experienced it on your way in.
Well, there's a lot of closings too. Be mindful of that. Check
yes, you can see that at the bottom of your screen and also WIBW.com.
Yeah. So just not a good idea to be out with all this stuff going on with the storm system that brought us the snow yesterday and last night and continues early this morning as this system continues to gradually progress eastward. Most of the snow will be done with by about midday, leaving us with dry conditions for the afternoon, but we're still dealing with at least a little bit of light snow continuing, especially for our eastern communities, and then another narrow band, especially between Clay Center and Manhattan and just to the west of Marysville. And taking a look at some of the roads across our cameras there, you can see some of the roads are covered. If you look close enough to the trees on the Manhattan camera, you can see they're blowing pretty hard as we do have some strong winds behind the storm system. We're going to be dealing with wind gusts 30 to 50 miles per hour through much of the day today. And so that's one of the reasons why even once the snow is done, that is going to produce some blowing snow, especially for those out to the west where it's been colder with some of the snow from overnight and a little bit higher probability for the dry powdery snow where it's still a wet snow here in our eastern communities, including Topeka, where it's still 34. Mid-20s out to the west and about 10 to 15 degrees colder compared to yesterday at this hour for those western communities. Winds right now out of the northwest sustained near 25 miles per hour in our western and northwestern communities right now. It's putting those wind chills down in the single digits in Clay Center, Concordia, Council Grove, teens and 20s elsewhere. Yesterday afternoon, we had temperatures a little bit above freezing in the mid-30s, and while those areas in the low 30s that we have early this morning will continue to cool down in the upper 20s. Those that are in the 20s right now will generally stay in the mid to upper 20s. So bottom line is mid to upper 20s by this afternoon and decreasing clouds from west to east this afternoon too. So some areas might be lucky enough to get some sun today. Otherwise, we'll be on the cold side tonight. A little bit warmer tomorrow. That'll probably be our last warm day that we'll have for at least a week. We'll talk about that and the Arctic front that pushes through towards the end of the week with more snow returning coming up.
Thanks, Doug.
As you wake up this morning, northeast Kansas is blanketed in snow and road conditions have changed throughout the morning and continue to do so.
13's Phil Anderson and Eric Ives are live right now at 9th in Kansas with a check of the roads ahead of your daily commute.
That's right, Raina. We're here at 9th and Kansas Avenue, downtown Topeka. This is Eric Ives and I's favorite place to be for these snow reports. What a view of the State House. You see the snow blowing sideways down here. The wind has really picked up, and we don't know if it was because of the buildings downtown funneling the wind or if, in fact, the wind has really just intensified. But we can tell you that the streets are getting slipperier and slipperier as you go through this morning because the snow comes down as the crews are clearing it. Now, the crews are out from the city, from the county, and from the Kansas Department of Transportation. They've been out working hard all night. We've seen multiple snow blades and large trucks clearing the streets, but I'll tell you, it's hard for them to keep up with it just because of all of the snow that's going on. And you can see now the other factor is the way the wind is blowing. So now the snow is going to start stacking up a little bit. It's going to be drifting in places. So again, remember, if you're going out and about, be very careful. There are slushy conditions between Topeka and Kansas City on I-70 on the Turnpike. And then don't forget, going to the west, you're going to find the I-70 closed between Kansas, between Salina and the Colorado-Kansas state line. If you're going west, it's also closed eastbound from Colorado to Wilson here in Kansas. So just a good day to stay. You see the wind blowing. Do be careful, be safe, and we'll have another report for you here in just a few minutes. We'll send it back to you now in the studio.
Thanks, Phil. That was 13's Phil Anderson reporting live from 9th and Kansas Avenue. The Topeka Rescue Mission will open a warming center to help people who are unsheltered get out of the winter weather. The shelter opened at 8 last night in their warehouse located at 206 Northwest Norris. In an effort to keep unsheltered people off the street, TRM's Executive Director, Lamanda Broyles, says she hopes to run the warming center until the end of this week. The warming center is set up with 35 mats and additional seating options with a total of 50 spots. The center will run 24 hours and serve 3 meals a day and also will provide snacks and drinks throughout the day. Broyles says animals will not be accepted at the shelter, but starting today at 7 a.m., TRM will be coordinating with community partners to board animals during the extreme weather while people seek shelter at the warming center. TRM previously opened a warming center at the location during a December 2022 cold snap.
The Topeka and the Shawnee County community, they have good hearts. They don't want people to suffer. They don't want people to be hurt, and they want to know how to help. And so that's what I'm trying to do, is to get that word out and say, we need the help by the donations, we need the help by the volunteering, or if you're feeling led to open up your own facility, we can help get you those logistics.
Volunteers, food and beverage donations are still needed. Donations can be brought to 401 Northwest Norris before 4 p.m. today. And after 4 p.m., you can bring those to 206 Northwest Norris. And we do have more information on how to volunteer on our website. The snow isn't stopping anytime soon, meaning anyone headed out should be prepared. The potential of ice, slushy conditions, and low visibility are likely and do pose dangers to not just you, but also other drivers. Experts do say if you don't have to be out, make sure you stay home. But if you do have to go somewhere, have a plan in place before you hit the roads. Shawnee County Emergency Management does recommend having an emergency kit tailored to the things you know you will need for your trip, and always prepare for the worst.
It's been getting stuck, so have maybe a shovel or some ice melt in your car, blankets if you get stuck in a rural area for a while. Make sure you have good shoes in your car, so if you have to walk a ways, that you're ready for that. So just kind of think it through, the worst case scenario, and prepare for that.
And remember, you can always check state highway conditions anytime at candrive.org.
The weather caused a wreck in Jackson County that sent 2 people to the hospital. The Jackson County Sheriff's Office says a single vehicle slid off K-16 highway around 12:30 p.m. yesterday just east of Denison. The vehicle traveled down a ravine and into some trees, leaving 2 people trapped inside. Responders freed the individuals, who were taken to a hospital with non-serious injuries. Kansas lawmakers have returned to their seats in the State House. The Kansas legislature gavelled in yesterday afternoon. Debates on tax relief, Medicaid expansion, and education are expected in the weeks ahead.
It's a big team, a really, really big team, an important team, but we all have to work together. We have different issues that we all may disagree on, but we need to come to the middle and agree and get something done that's good for everybody.
Representative Kyle McNorton, who you just heard from, a Shawnee County Republican, began his first term yesterday, taking over the seat vacated by former Topeka Representative Fred Patton.
An explosion damaged a historic Texas hotel. Details on what caused the explosion is ahead.
And AI is on its way to new Volkswagen vehicles. The features it will have is ahead when we look at your top stories and money news. We'll be right back.
Watching 13 News, Kansas News Leader.
Welcome back into 13 News this morning. Time is now 6:42. United Airlines says it found loose bolts and other installation issues on door plugs that were inspected after a 63-pound panel blew off an Alaska Airlines 737 MAX 9 on Friday night. The FAA grounded all 171 MAX 9s in the U.S. after pilots flying the Alaska plane, now at the center of the investigation, reported pressurization warnings on 3 separate occasions in the recent weeks. Investigators are looking through the rubble after an explosion damaged a historic hotel in Fort Worth, Texas. The blast, which officials say they believe was somehow connected to a gas leak, blew out windows and littered streets with large sections of debris from the building. Injuries did include 1 person left in critical condition. Pope Francis Francis stirred some controversy by calling for a universal ban on surrogate motherhood. The Pope called the practice despicable. He took particular issue in situations where women are paid by individuals or couples to carry their embryos.
Now for a look at some money news. The Dow soared 216 points, the Nasdaq 319, and the S&P 500 rose 66 points. Volkswagen is getting an AI upgrade. At the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, the German car maker announced it is integrating ChatGPT into its voice assistant to help with car systems such as infotainment, navigation, and air conditioning. VW says ChatGPT will not gain access to vehicle data, and questions and answers will be deleted immediately for data protection. The new voice assistant will be available in the new Tiguan, Passat, and Golf, as well as the ID 3, 4, 5, and 7. And golf great Tiger Woods announced that his longtime partnership with Nike has ended. The 15-time majors champion has worn Nike since signing with the company nearly 3 decades ago, raking in hundreds of millions of dollars in endorsement fees.
All right, taking a look at candrive.org early this morning. Now Topeka and the surrounding areas are in completely covered roadways. In the pink, it was in the blue, partially covered roadways for the majority of the morning. But with that snow really increasing just recently, that is starting to have an impact out on the roads. We do have a couple of road closures just to the northwest of Council Grove and then just to the southwest of Emporia. And then especially out west from Salina to the west on I-70, road closures out there as well. So bottom line is, not a good idea to be out on the roads. If you absolutely must be out on the roads at any point in time today, the afternoon is going to be better compared to this morning, allowing for the roads to clear out some of the snow that is continuing to fall early this morning, especially along and east of Highway 75 and then in between Clay Center and Manhattan, just to the west of Marysville, getting that narrow band of snow out there as well. But on top of that, we do have some strong winds. So even though the snow will be over by this afternoon, winds will continue to blow around that snow. And so again, it's not a great idea to be out at all today, but if you have to, the afternoon is going to be better than this morning. In the meantime, potential snowfall totals between now and once the snow is over with by midday, less than an inch. So we're not looking at anything overly heavy unless you're out closer to the Missouri border and certainly in western Missouri where more than an inch would be expected. 20s and 30s for temperatures. It's still above freezing in Topeka at 34. Wind chill values in the single digits out to the west and teens and 20s for the rest of northeast Kansas with wind gusts at 45 or 44 miles per hour in Concordia and 30s further out to the east, including 33 in Topeka. We will get those winds between 35 and 50 miles per hour at times through the morning and early afternoon, gradually weakening from west to east by this afternoon into tonight, and it shouldn't be too bad over the next couple days. Of course, we have the strong air mass in place for today that will slowly push eastward over the next couple of days, but here comes another Arctic air mass, and once you get into some of these brighter whites and especially the pink and purple colors towards the end of the weekend, that is going to send us some very, very frigid temperatures, dangerously cold temperatures on the way, and this model, the European, actually warms us back up by midweek on Wednesday next week, but the GFS keeps us in that Arctic air mass, so a little bit of uncertainty on how quickly it warms back up. But bottom line is, it is going to be frigid this weekend. Wind chills both nights this weekend will be between 15 below and 20 below zero for most areas, and wouldn't be surprised if Monday morning was the same as well.
Thank you, Doug.
And as Doug was saying, snow has continued to fall here in the capital city.
13's Phil Anderson and Eric Ives are live and have an update as you prepare for your daily commute. Don't go away. We're back on the other side of this break.
You're watching 13 News, Kansas News Leader.
Welcome back to 13 News this morning at 6:49. It's been snowing throughout the night here in the capital city and continues to do so.
And 13's Phil Anderson and Eric Ives are live downtown right now to give you a look at the roads as of right now.
That's right, Raina. We are here at 9th and Kansas Avenue. You see that right now the effects of the wind, it has really picked up here in the last 15, 20 minutes. We are feeling like we're in a wind tunnel right now in downtown Topeka. The snow has dissipated just a little bit, though, in the last 10, 15 minutes, but still the streets are a little bit treacherous in places. You see the city buses coming in behind us here. They are running. A lot of the city services are running. We're here. The city offices will be open on schedule at 8 o'clock. So a lot of things are going on as normal, but of course, most of the schools are closed. And of course, if you're out and about with the weather today, just be extremely careful. Some of the streets have licensed, some of the streets have become a little bit icy. Here you have Washburn University. That's even closed today. So here on the bus, we say welcome aboard. So if you're out and about, again, we do have the buses running today. That's a good way to get around and avoid having to drive. Again, the streets are cleared as much as they can. City crews have been out all night. County crews, Kansas Department of Transportation crews, all doing a great job. But again, be careful if you're out and about. We also have heard of some power outages earlier today in the Topeka area. Also, there's some power outages right now in Wichita and Kansas City. So just be aware of all that. We'll be back with you for some more reports live here in just the next few minutes. We'll send it back to you now in the studio.
This is First Alert Weather.
Well, we broke a record yesterday, even though with 2.3 inches of snow. On top of that, we had some rain to begin with. 0.91 inches of total precipitation yesterday in Topeka, breaking the previous record on that date of only 0.28 inches from 1937. So quite a bit of meaningful precipitation yesterday. And so far, we're doing pretty good for the month across the area with more than an inch of total accumulation as far as precipitation, whether it's been rain or snow or a mixture of both, but over an inch everywhere. Topeka, Manhattan, Emporia, and Concordia. So starting off the month and the year off to a good start with the above average precipitation. And so far we're at 14 inches of snowfall for the season. This does not include any snow that has fallen since midnight though, so keep that in mind. 13.3 in Wichita, 6 inches in Kansas City, and we're certainly beating some of the snowier cities in Minneapolis and Chicago. They're not even in the double digits for snowfall totals yet for the season. So certainly a little bit on the kind of weird side for the season when it comes to snow. It is going to be very cold today as the snow winds down this morning. Should be dry by the afternoon, but the cold weather will be here to stay. Temperatures are going to be stuck in the teens for wind chill values and even single digits for some areas, especially in our western communities. Once the snow ends by about midday, we'll be dry for this afternoon, dry for the next couple days before more snow increases Thursday night into early Friday morning especially. We'll be dry for most of Saturday, and then Sunday we'll get another round of snow Sunday into Sunday night. So a couple more opportunities of snow. There is some uncertainty on the specific details on those opportunities for snow and how much to expect, but it does look to at least have some impacts for our area here in eastern Kansas with that system Friday morning through Saturday morning. So that'll be something to keep an eye on. It's very possible that we could get a couple inches out of both of those systems, but we will definitely have much colder temperatures with those two snow chances. So no worries about any mixture of rain or any precipitation other than snow, as we will have those snow chances Thursday night and Friday after today.
Thanks, Doug.
If you're hitting the roads today, we do have some tips on how to be safe.
And 13's Phil Anderson and Eric Ives are live as the winter weather continues this morning. Those stories and more coming up when we take a look at what you need to know and your out-the-door forecast. Don't go away. It's time now for the stories you need to know and your out-the-door forecast at 6:58. Road conditions have changed throughout the morning as the snow has continued to fall.
13's Phil Anderson and Eric Ives are live right now to give us an update on the roads. Phil?
That's right. We are here at 9th and Kansas Avenue again. A very cold morning. The wind has really picked up. The snow has let up a little bit. But I would say right now, if you're out and about, make sure you bundle up. It is extremely cold now with this north wind coming straight down from the north. And do be careful if you're out and about. Streets are in pretty good shape. A few icy spots here and there. And if you leave Topeka, make sure you go to candrive.org to get your destination just right. We'll send it back to you now in the studio.
All right, thanks, Phil. The governor has declared a state of disaster for the winter storms. The declaration enables additional resources to be readied for assistance. She's also closed state office buildings under the executive branch until Wednesday. And the Shawnee County Sheriff's Office has entered Phase 3 accident reporting as of 9:30 last night. They'll respond only to accidents requiring a greater response. You can follow all closings on WIBW.com.
The snow isn't stopping anytime soon, meaning you should stay prepared. The potential of ice, slushy conditions, and low visibility are likely and do pose dangers. If you must go somewhere, make sure you have a plan in place. Shawnee County Emergency Management does recommend having an emergency kit. And remember, you can check state highway conditions anytime at candrive.org. Time is now 6:59. Here's Doug.
All right, snow will continue through the morning, dry by this afternoon, perhaps getting a little bit late day sun with steady and falling temperatures through the day. So again, not a good idea to be out and about because of those strong winds that will continue all day too.
Thanks for watching 13 News this morning. Doug and I are back for midday.
Have a good day.